This episode of the QA is sponsored by Lucky Shot.
It is the end of the month, which means it is time for the QA. It is the March 2021 edition, and a lot has happened this month, both kind of professionally and personally, which I won't get into, but needless to say, it was a big month for me. So good things. I'm on the road, as you can see. I'm teaching a red dot handgun instructor class on the east, well, I don't know if it's the East Coast, but east of me. I'm in Ohio. So I felt like it was on the coast because when I was driving around today, I got to see Lake Erie, which was kind of cool. But anyways, we don't have a ton of questions, but we do have some. Want to do a quick comment. As always, before we get started, the best way to get your question on the show is to email us. That email address is shown below. That is theqa@gunsandtactics.com. Make sure you send in your questions. I try to read all the comments, but email is best. So again, that email address, send your question in. And again, one lucky prize winner every episode. So thanks to our sponsor, Lucky Shot. Let's get going through the comment cleanup here real quick. Bob was the first one to make a first comment last time, so thank you very much, Bob, for that. And Bob, I wish I had some of your pineapple Fanta on the road with me this week. They don't have pineapple Fanta here in Ohio, so I had to settle for some Pepsi. Is what it is. Some kind words from Jason. Love the channel. And he'd love to have me back for a class. So yeah, reach out. Aaron is our mobile team coordinator. He handles all the hosting stuff, but he would love to work with you. So if you have a good hosting location, I'd love to make something work. So yeah, other comments. Yeah, and then do have to make a shout out here to Old Paladin. He saw the Hawkins police patch, which normally would be over this shoulder. However, there is a few other Stranger Things items in the background if you look. So I do have the Hawkins patch. There is a Hawkins Power and Light sticker, which may not be visible in all of the videos. And then Big Tex Outdoors had a SHOT Show patch from last year that had 11 in it. So see if you can find that on previous videos. Let me turn the heater off quick. First question is a comment from Thomas. Hi, Dave. Hope you're doing great. Question. I've been looking for something smaller to carry Appendix IWB, which is in the waistband. And I finally gave up on trying to find a Glock 43X and pulled to the trigger, pun, on a Taurus G3c. Reviews have been positive and negative, but was wondering if I had any experience and what my thoughts are. Right now, I agree with you, man. The market is super hard. I would love for you to be able to get either like a Smith & Wesson Shield, Glock 43X, a SIG 365, whatever, small single stack, small frame gun you could find. And it's tough. You're going to pretty much have to be watching Gunbroker and making sure that you're getting, bids in and you can get actually some product, but that's about the only ways that you're getting stuff right now, but it is getting better. I do know of dealers starting to get inventory, especially bigger dealers that have more clout and pull with their reps. They are starting to see inventory. I don't have any personal experience with the Taurus. I've seen some good and bad reviews as well. So my biggest advice before you shoot it would be to commit. Either A, you're going to keep it, and then you need to go put a couple hundred rounds through it, which I realize is super expensive right now, but you need to make sure it's reliable. Or if you can return it or sell it as new, it would be the best time to do it before it's shot or fired, so that way it is in like new condition. So that would be my best advice moving forward. You could have a very good gun, it could be reliable, and then you can also upgrade in the future when things kind of come back to normal. So that's definitely an option, but I don't have a personal experience with it. But thank you very much for the question. All right, that is, I think, about all the questions from the comments. CZ Junkie, he always says, there's something about the QA series that's relaxing for me, and I really look forward to it every month. Well, this month, the March 2021 edition of the QA is going to be the relaxing. No, I don't know. That's about all I got. Anyways, let's get to the email questions now. This one is from Brandon, first-time caller, long-time listener. Hello from Prior Lake. Well, hello to you. Do some competitive shooting, train weekly, have the basics down, but want to see if I had any recommendations for Minnesota trainers. That would actually be a really good topic. I agree with you. I don't have a ton of direct interaction with some of the other Minnesota training companies. Maybe that's something that I should look out and maybe see if we could collaborate and I don't know, take some classes or share some, feedback or whatever. But unfortunately, I don't have any direct experience, so I don't want to give you any recommendations because I'd hate to have you go to a class and then hate it, or go to a class and it's a waste of your time. So I guess the best thing I can give you right now is to keep doing, the leagues, keep doing shooting events, things like that, because you're going to be gravitated towards those solid shooters and you can learn a lot from them. And then maybe what I can do in the future is either try to have a class or two in Minnesota. I personally feel very confident in the training I offer, but ultimately, I'm just one voice in a whole choir, and there's a lot of really good instructors out there that I don't know about, and some of them that I do know about on a national level. So I definitely want to make sure I give you good info, and if we can find something in Minnesota that's solid, that might be a great topic. So I don't have any great advice other than maybe we could see if we can try to put something together in Minnesota. So if you have a range or anything like that, or something I could come to, or even an area that we maybe could rent out or something, that would be awesome. Unfortunately, my place up in the Brainerd Lakes area, I let that go, so I don't have any infrastructure or relationship. Maybe that would be an option. I could rent it out for a weekend or something, but then we'd have to be a little more rustic, kind of like the olden days for those who have trained with me for a while. Remember, we didn't have all of our fancy canopies and stuff. But that's a great question. Next one is from Billy. Could you please tell me where your wife got your windshield? And he's talking about the UTV series, which if you haven't watched it, you can check out the playlist up in the card, being that I'm not in my normal setup. I think it'd be up there. But I'll put a playlist up there for the Ultimate UTV project, and that was where I was doing my side-by-side build, which I do have a couple more videos to probably wrap up in that series. But I got it from 801 UTV. If you just search for 801 UTV, or I believe it's USA Windshields, but they're out of Utah, super good dudes, great customer service. I've been very happy with it, and actually I just got a windshield cover from them for towing as well. So 801 UTV. Next one is from Derek. Dave Tim, putting a sling on my 870 shotgun, and when I drilled and tapped, it cracked my stock a little bit. Why did that happen? Number two, I'm thinking about switching out magazine follower. Instead of having a plastic orange one, I was looking towards an aluminum follower for the 870. The number two question is easy. Get the Nordic aluminum follower. They're anodized red. They're really good quality. They're smooth. They flow really well in the magazine tube. They're not going to bind or anything like that. Plus, they're high vis and they feed really well. I've had zero issues with those Nordic magazine caps or followers. Thank you. The follower, and I run them in a few different shotguns. They work absolutely awesome. So I would get that. Now, as far as why it cracked, if I was just looking at it on the surface, if I was looking at it in person, I might be able to give a little different answer. But if it cracked, that probably means that we didn't drill the hole large enough, and when we threaded that screw in, it expanded the stock and it cracked. Now, without looking at it, I don't know for certain. Maybe you hit something in there that caused the stock to expand or anything. I don't know if you're talking about a wood or a synthetic stock, but either way, it is fixable. So it's not the end of the world. You could either epoxy a synthetic stock and then drill the appropriate sized hole and thread it, or if it's a wood stock, you could fill it with some wood glue, clamp it, clean the excess, repair if any finish issues, and then again, drill the appropriate size and screw it in. So it's not the end of the world. But yeah, hope that helps. If you have any questions on the repair or something like that, don't be afraid to shoot me an email. All right, a couple more here. Dave, I live on New York and love watching, love have you come out and try to set something up. And Andrew, if you're watching this, I wonder if you have any update. We did talk on the phone. I'd love to come out to New York. I really want to have real New York pizza. I think that would be pretty awesome. Got a question here from Scott. Watched the mods on the Honda Pioneer videos, which we linked to before, and he had a question about the hood buttons, and I did send him a link, and those are now in the Amazon description, and I know that I need to finish that accompanying article that I talked about where it has links to everything. So it is on the way. I will get that done one of these days, I promise. This one is from Jim from Wisconsin. When removing the bases from the top of a receiver with screws that have been secured with blue Loctite, what is the best way to clean out the hardened residue that's stuck in the threads and the holes of the receiver? I want to make sure the residue is gone before I install the bases. And what he's talking about is as thread locker hardens, it kind of turns into like a super glue, like crystal residue. And I agree, it should be cleaned out. The best way to clean it out is with a stiff nylon brush. A lot of times that can get it away. You can use a new screw to kind of chase out the residue. Some acetone can also help kind of soften that up. If you have some really, really stubborn stuff, technically you could use a tap. And I know sometimes that needs to be done depending on what kind of compound was in there, but keep in mind it's easy to damage those threads if you are just off a little bit trying to chase out Loctite. So acetone, be careful of the finish, obviously, a good stiff brush, and you can hopefully pick it out there. Otherwise, like a dental pick or something like that could work as well, but shouldn't have any issues removing it, with those methods. All right, this one is from Paul. Actually, we do have a lot of questions. I didn't realize how many questions we had. Recently bought a Knights TK 2000 muzzle loading shotgun, and after checking it, removing the breech plug, he noticed these marks inside the chamber area, and he did send a picture. I'll be honest, it's really tough to see from the picture because the picture is kind of blurry. I'll show you guys it. And I don't know what those marks are without taking a look. It could be a scratch or a gouge from manufacturing. It could be something was dirty, it was loading. It's just really, really tough for me to check it out. Now, he did ask about, is there a charge for inspection? Generally, I don't charge to inspect something. If you want to stop by, again, shoot me an email. We can get together and see what we can come up with. But I'm not going to claim to be a leading leader on muzzle loaders, so I can give you kind of a generic, you know, metal look at it, if you will, and see if it might be something that could be cleaned. Otherwise, if there's any burrs or anything that we could clean up, otherwise we might just have to kind of smooth it out and just kind of roll with it. We only have 3 left. Let's go ahead and thank our sponsor, Lucky Shot. Lucky Shot makes some really cool glassware and gifts, and I wish I had some Lucky Shot for this trip because I'm stuck using hotel cups. But Lucky Shot makes some really cool stuff. Plus, they've been generous enough to not only give us a prize to give away, but also give our viewers a code so you guys can save money on all of your orders. Whether you're giving a gift to someone you care about or a gift for yourself, you can save a little money by using the code showed on your screen. So head on over to their webpage, luckyshotusa.com. Pick something out for someone in your life, for yourself, or just because. Thanks to Lucky Shot for supporting this episode of the QA. All right, let's get back to it. Got a few left here, actually about 3 to be exact. This one is from Ryan. He's looking to build a 300 blackout do-it-all pistol that is accurate but compact enough to fit in a bag under 20 inches. Can't afford a SIG MCX. What would I suggest? But I'd like to try something comparable using an Arrow 7 to 8 inch barrel. The only 300 blackout I have a ton of experience with is my personal pistol, and that has a Seekins precision barrel. And I want to say their barrels were like around 9 inches, but so far, I shouldn't probably say a ton. I have maybe a couple hundred rounds, but then obviously Corona hit and 300 blackout ammo is super tough to get. But I did have relatively good accuracy out to about 100 yards shooting subsonic. And then unfortunately, I had a limited supply of supersonic that I was only able to shoot out to 100. And again, for a pistol with a limited optic that I had on it, I was getting, I think a couple MOA, which I firmly believe could probably do better if I had a better rest and maybe put a little bit more magnification. Now, as far as 300 blackout as a do-all, I actually don't think that's a bad option outside of ammunition being expensive and hard to get. You have supersonic when you need something with a little bit more power, a little bit more range, and you can have subsonic when you want to be quiet, be suppressed. The downside is the all of do-all that's missing is like a cheap practice ammo. There's really just not a lot of cheap, readily available ammo, and obviously mags can be a little finicky, but if you can get a gun that can run, I would recommend either using the Lancer or the Magpul mags, the dedicated 300 blackout version. You should be good to go. And then again, shooting it suppressed is nice. So that is a little bit on the 300 blackout. I would check out Faxon. I've heard good things about their barrels. Seekins, like I said, mine's been pretty solid. Otherwise, Arrow does have good stuff as well. But check out Rainier Arms. They are a great partner. Just keep an eye out for 300 blackout barrels, and you might be able to see what's in stock. You can sign up for notifications, and then as stuff kind of comes in, you could find something that might work for you. This one is from Michael. He wants to know what Seekins rings did I use in my review of the Voodoo, and that is the Voodoo V22. I will put a link up there, and that was with the Trijicon scope. Your comments will be greatly appreciated. Well, I appreciate your question, and the height I used was this one. And I am pretty sure I don't have the gun in front of me, but I'm almost positive I used the 34 millimeter tube 1.0 inch, but I believe the 9.2 would have fit as well. But I tell you what, when I get back, I will confirm, I will measure, and I can send you an email. But they're great rings. So far, it's been good. The one thing I will say is that I wish I had an extended base and a 40 MOA base instead of a 20 or 30 MOA base that I have on there now. So the one thing that I'm going to be doing probably moving forward for this rimfire season, I'm going to be putting on a Night Force extended base just because I want to be able to move the scope a little bit more forward. And unfortunately, with the current base that basically ends flush with the receiver on the Voodoo, I can't do that. So I'm going to be adding an extended base that is a 40 MOA, and currently the only one that I found that is extended and 40 MOA that looks pretty solid is the Night Force. So that's what I'm going to be going with. That's the only other thing I have to add to that Voodoo. Otherwise, it's been an awesome shooter. I can't wait to get back shooting 22 matches. It's actually at the Lapua. I think that's how you pronounce it properly. Americans, we pronounce it Lapua, but I believe it's pronounced Lapua. But It's actually at the Ohio testing facility, not just a coincidence that I'm here. I'm not here for that. I wish I could go get it and shoot it, but it's actually at the Ohio Lapua ammunition testing facility to find out what lot of ammo it likes best. So I can't wait to get it. He was a little far behind, so I'm hoping it will actually be wrapped up this week and I can get that rifle back soon. Last question is from Ryan. Best bang for your buck two-stage trigger, Geisley G2S or LaRue MBT, or is there another contender out there? As far as other contenders out there, there is Stern Defense. I ran into them at TriggerCon last year, and they had a two-stage trigger that actually felt really good for the money. It was like around $140, $150, and it felt really solid. It's a cartridge style trigger that dropped in. Now, I don't have live fire or a ton of range time with it or anything like that, but it appeared to be a pretty solid trigger, and they OEM for some big companies out there as well. So they're a bigger manufacturing company. They're just not as well known. Now, I will say, bang for the buck with what you mentioned, I wouldn't hesitate to go with the Geisley G2S. It's an awesome trigger. I have a couple of them that I've ran a ton of rounds through, no issues whatsoever. I personally like it better than the LaRue. LaRue's a very nice trigger as well. The LaRue's a little lighter, and the face of it was a little bit more like rectangular feeling, if you will. I mean, yes, I know they both had a bow, but the Geisley kind of had a concave feeling to the bow, whereas the MBT was just, basically cut. So it had, I'm not saying sharp edges, but it was kind of a flat curve versus like a concave curve, if that makes sense. I personally just prefer the Geisley. However, the LaRue was a very nice trigger. It felt great. I had no issues with it. I just like the feel of the Geisley better, but I wouldn't hesitate to get either one. I do think the LaRue was priced better. At the time I bought them, I want to say they were around $100, which I don't know what they are currently, but really, really good trigger, so I wouldn't hesitate to get one of those either. So that is going to do it for questions this month. I tried to go through them relatively quick so I wasn't, just droning on and on and on. But let me make sure that we got everybody covered, and let's give away our prize. All right, random number generator, and it is going to be number 8. So let's see who number 8 was. 11, 10, 9, and 8 is going to be Paul. So Paul, we will be in touch and get a prize from Lucky Shot to you. And then again, we can maybe try to figure out something, take a look at that bore in person. Again, guys, if you have any questions, you want to see any content, you have any requests, anything like that, please leave them in the comment section below, or the best way to reach us is to email us. That email address is theqa@gunsandtactics.com. Please send in your emails. If you guys like the content, if you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I know the QA is not our most viewed series, so if you can get the word out so we can continue to grow that series, we can get cooler prizes, cooler sponsors, all that stuff. But unfortunately, that's really tough to do when we only have limited views. So I need your help. Please share, comment, engage, tell people about it, and have people submit questions so they can watch and hopefully win some prizes as well. That'll do it. Thank you guys very much for watching. Remember, like, share, subscribe, shoot safe, train safe. Hope you're staying healthy. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.
We work really hard to make content that we hope you as a shooter would enjoy. Subscribe to our channel, check out our featured videos and playlists, and if you have a question firearms related, go ahead and send an email to the address shown on the screen to be entered into our monthly QA series.